Welcome to the College Foundation of North Carolina's HBCU webinar series. Today we're going to talk about repaying student loans, along with understanding your rights and responsibilities. My name is Brittany Privet, and I am the 910 area code regional representative for the College Foundation.
Hello, my name is Tequila Barnes Hall, and I'm the regional representative for the 336 telephone area code.
Today, we're going to talk about student loans. And when we're talking about the basics of student loans, we like to make sure that students understand that all student loans have to be repaid. So we really encourage students to only borrow what you need and understand that you have to pay back the loan with interest and capitalization of interest. What you're charged for is using someone else's money. So we are really encouraging students to only take out what they need because you have to pay it back and then some. There are different types of federal student loans. The Stafford Direct Subsidized Loan is need-based, based on the FAFSA, which is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. No interest accrues as long as you're in school, at least part-time. It is the student's debt. There's no credit check required. And with most of these loans, if not all of them, you have to sign a master promissory note. Stafford Direct unsubsidized loans are not need-based. Interest accrues right away, which is the biggest difference between our direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Again, it is the student's debt. There's no credit check required, and students must sign a master promissory note. Other types of federal loans will include our Parent Plus loans, which is the parent's debt. There is a credit check required, and it is not need-based. Interest accrues right away. And again, you must sign a master promissory note. I think we're getting a trend here. Graduate or professional loans are not need-based, but students must still submit a FAFSA form. For graduate students and parents borrowing on behalf of a dependent student, a dependent undergraduate student at least half time, they must be repaid, and again, you must sign a master promissory note. Private student loans are pretty common and are also known as alternative education loans. They help bridge the gap between the actual cost of education and the amount the government allows you to borrow within its programs. Private loans are offered by private lenders, and there are no federal forms to complete. North Carolina has our own state-funded NC Assist loan program, and it is available to all North Carolina residents and students who reside outside of North Carolina but are attending an eligible nonprofit Title IV institution in North Carolina. There's no application, origination, or prepayment fees ever. Typically, the interest rates are 5.5% or 5.25% with a 0.25 rate reduction if you have auto draft payments. No payment penalty, there's no penalty to prepay this loan. And to find out more information about the NC Assist loan program, you can visit ncassist.org. There are loan limits for dependent students when it comes to taking money out to borrow for school. The aggregate limit for undergraduate dependent students is $31,000 with no more than $23,000 in subsidized loans. You cannot borrow more than your cost of attendance minus any other financial aid you get. So you may receive less than the annual maximum amount of loans. There are also loan limits for independent students and dependent students whose parents are denied a PLUS loan. Aggregate limit for undergraduate students is $57,500 with no more than $23,000 in subsidized loans. Aggregate limit for graduate and professional students is $138,500 with no more than $65,000 in subsidized loans. As we said before, federal loans do require a master promissory note, which is a note that contains your rights and responsibilities. It is a legally binding document that you sign and promise to pay back the money that you've borrowed. You indicate your commitment to repay these loans by signing the master promissory note. Your master promissory note may have been used for only 1 year at a time or as a multi-year note. It really depends on the loan. your master promissory note expires after 10 years, or if you declare bankruptcy for other reasons. Check with your lender to find out more details about your master promissory note, and check with your loan servicer or your campus if you have questions about the note itself. For federal loans, you can complete or check your master promissory note at studentaid.gov. There's also an app, so if you prefer to check this information on your phone or tablet, you can download the My Student Aid app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store. When we use the term loan servicer, we are talking about a private entity that collects and monitors and reports all loan payments. You should be notified by your loan servicer once your school loan is dispersed to your school. And if you have any questions about who your loan servicer is or to find out more details, you can ask your financial aid office. Your loan servicer can transfer your loan. So please note that your lender can transfer your loan to another lender on a secondary market or the U.S. Department of Education. The original lender and the new holder of your loan must notify you in writing if a sale occurs, and notification includes the new holder's name, address, and telephone number. Terms and condition of your loan are going to remain the same though. Once you have left school, so whether you have stopped out of school, taken a break, or you've graduated, repayment begins 6 months after your last date in school for direct Stafford loans. This begins the day after you stop attending, like I said before, on at least a half-time basis. So if you stop attending school, after 6 months, you're going to be asked to start repaying your loans. Each loan has a 1 6-month grace period. Your loan servicer advises you if your first payment due date is during your grace period. You are responsible for beginning repayment of your loan on time, even if your loan servicer's communication fails to reach you. So it is important to update your personal information, including how to contact you when you graduate or when you decide to stop out or take a break, because your loan servicer will advise you of your first payment due date during that 6-month grace period. So it's really important to stay in communication with your loan servicer. There are different repayment options. We're going to go through these one by one. I'm going to start it off, and then Tequila is going to take it from here. But there are different repayment options. A non-public service loan forgiveness, or a PSLF eligible. So these are not included. So these repayment options do not include public service loan for forgiveness. So we have our standard repayment, which is typically about 10 years, our graduated repayment, which is also 10 years, extended repayment, which is $30,000 over 25 years, income sensitive repayment, which is 15 years, and includes federal family education loans, or FFEL. We also have income driven repayment plans, and our public service loan forgiveness loans are included in these. So our income contingent repayment plans, which are direct loan and for parents, income-based repayment, high debt versus income, and then pay as you earn. You always have the option to prepay your loan, so pay extra ahead of time, and you also always have the option to change your loan date.
Thank you so much, Brittany. So I'm going to be sharing some information with you based upon some of the things that Brittany just mentioned to you. So we're going to start talking about your standard repayment plan facts. So of course, the loan balance is calculated over a 10-year repayment term. And I just want you to know the smallest repayment amount that you would have is $50. So the minimum monthly payment is going to be $50. So this is always the default repayment plan for federal direct loans. So if you don't make a different choice with your loan servicer, this is the payment plan that you will be on. So you may end up paying more in the long run under other payment plans. So we'll just talk a little bit about that in just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about your graduated repayment. So when we talk about graduated, these are payments that are lower as you start repaying, and then they're going to increase usually every 2 years. So again, smaller at first, and then over time, your payments will get larger. You'll usually pay more than the standard 10-year plan, but you have up to 10 years to repay. So this is one of the plans that I told you that will have to be requested. So if you don't request a different payment plan, then you're automatically going to default to the standard one, which is the very first one that we just talked about. So if you're interested in graduated, you'll need to talk to your loan servicer. We also have the extended repayment. So payments may be fixed or they could be graduated, and you have up to 25 years to repay. So one of the major components or things that you want to notice about this particular type of repayment plan is you must have more than $30,000 in outstanding direct loan debt. So usually you'll pay more than the standard 10 years plan that we talked about initially. Let's talk about income-based repayment. We refer to this one as IBR. So you might hear that term. So if you see IBR, we're talking about income-based repayment. So payments will be either 10 or 15% of your discretionary income, but never more than you would pay in the standard 10-year repayment. So payments are recalculated each year based upon your income as well as your family size, and any outstanding balance on your loan will be forgiven after 20 or 25 years. So make sure that you're aware of that. So it just depends on when you received your first loan. You may also have to pay income tax on the amount that is forgiven. So of course, just be aware of that. And you must have a high debt relative to your income to be eligible. So again, you may pay more than the standard 10-year plan. We're also going to talk a little bit about your income contingent repayment. This is referred to as ICR. And for this one, your monthly payment will be lesser of either 20% of your discretionary income or the amount you would pay on a repayment plan with your fixed payment over 12 years. So this is going to be adjusted according to your income. So payments are recalculated each year and are based upon your income. So this is very similar to the other one. Your family size, and the total amount of your direct loan. So any outstanding balance will be forgiven if you haven't repaid it in full after 25 years. So you may have to pay, again, income tax on any amount that is forgiven, and you may pay more than the standard 10-year plan. Next, I'm going to just share a little bit of information about income-sensitive repayment. So as we talk about this particular option, your monthly payment is based upon your annual income, but your loan will be paid in full within 15 years. So you'll, again, usually pay more than that standard 10-year plan. And this is only available if you're part of, or if your loan was part of the Federal Family Education Loan Program. So that FFELS program. We also have pay as you earn. And so we refer to this as pay. And so your monthly payments will be 10% of your discretionary income, but will never be more than you would have paid under that 10-year standard repayment plan. So you must have a high debt relative to your income to qualify. And payments, again, are recalculated each year based upon your updated income and your family size. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Now, any outstanding balance on your loan will be forgiven if you haven't repaid it in full after 20 years. So again, you may have to pay income tax on any amount that is forgiven. Now, to qualify, I want you to pay specific attention to this. So to qualify for this plan, you must be a new borrower on or after October 1, 2007, and you must have received a disbursement of a direct loan on or after October 1 of 2011. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. And again, usually you're going to pay more than the standard 10-year payment plan. Now, we just talked about pay, and we're going to talk about the revised payment plan to pay, and we call it the revised pay as you earn repayment. So it's referred to as REPAYE. So your monthly payments will be at least 10% of your discretionary income. And again, payments are recalculated each year and are based upon your income and family size. So you'll see this is pretty standard for some of these plans. And any outstanding balance on your loan will be forgiven if you haven't fully repaid it after 20 years. So that's for undergraduate students, but if you're a graduate student, that would be 25 years. So you have 5 more years for that particular option if you're a graduate student. Now, again, you may have to pay income tax on any amount that is forgiven. And again, usually you'll pay more than the standard 10-year payment plan. Let's talk about federal loan consolidation. And I know we get a lot of questions about loan consolidation. So I just want to take a moment to explain it to you. So basically, this is an extended repayment of up to 30 years based upon your loan balance. So, instead of paying, more than one servicer or lender, you're actually consolidating all your loans into one monthly payment. So that's one of the beauties of this particular option. And it can, you can prepay or change repayment plans. Of course, there is a fixed interest rate. So, of course, that's something that you want to know. But there are some things that you might not be aware of as we talk about um, loan consolidation. So you could lose some of your loan eligibility that you would have had under your original loan. And of course, you could also lose eligibility for certain types of deferments, forgivenesses, cancellation, and of course, grace period benefits. So just want to make sure that that's clear. And of course, it could be loss of borrower benefits again, like I said. And I think that's one of the major um, things that borrowers want to talk to their loan servicer about. So you really want to understand, what your borrower benefits are under your loan before you consolidate to see if this is going to be the best option for you. So just want to make sure that's clear. We also have public service loan forgiveness. So to qualify for PSLF or public service loan forgiveness, you must meet this criteria. So be employed by a U.S. or federal, state, local, or tribal government or a not-for-profit organization. Work full-time for that agency or organization. You have to have direct loans or consolidated other federal student loans into a direct loan. Repay your loans under an income-driven repayment plan. And we talked about some of the income-based repayment options and make 120 qualifying payments. Now, here's some resources that are available to you for public service loan forgiveness. And so you'll see the link on my screen here. You can also contact your loan servicer or your lender. Be sure to contact the HR department of the place of which you're employed for more information, and they can share all the specifics regarding public service loan forgiveness. Now, there's some other loan forgiveness options out there, so you'll see two. And I want to talk about teacher loan forgiveness first. So as we talk about teacher loan forgiveness, and we're talking about direct Stafford loans, and so, of course, your first loan was made on or after October 1 of 1998. You teach in a qualifying low-income school for 5 consecutive years. And so, you'll see 17,500 or 17,500 or $5,000 can be forgiven. And then the next one I want to talk about is the North Carolina Forgivable Education Loan for Service. And so we refer to that as FELS. So some of the things that you want to know is, we do look at your GPA, major, is institution contingent. And of course, to learn more about this particular type of option, you want to go to cfnc.org/FELS. Now, I just want to add just one or two more things to the North Carolina Forgivable Education Loan for Service. You do have to agree to work in the state of North Carolina for 1 year for every year you receive the money. And of course, we don't indicate where you have to actually work in North Carolina. We have 100 counties, and you are free to work in any of those counties as long as you're working in the capacity that you agree to. So just want to make sure you know about that. So you can also go to studentaid.gov for more specific information about teacher loan forgiveness. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that as well. Now, as we're talking about the North Carolina Forgivable Education Loan for Service, I just want to throw on the screen very quickly some of the areas that qualify. And so we're looking at allied health, nursing, education, and of course there are some options that are available in medicine at the doctoral level. Now, some of these programs are eligible for undergrad, some of them are undergrad and grad, and some are just for graduate work. So you'll see there's a few examples here, and I will tell you all of these are critical needs areas, so we need more people in North Carolina working in these areas. And I'm just going to highlight a few of them. Under allied health, you'll see like dental hygiene, emergency medical science. You'll see occupational therapy assistant, pharmacy. You'll see that information. Nurses, we need nurses at all levels. And you'll also notice under education, You'll see that we have elementary education, some things for middle grades, as well as secondary education. So the next slide, I just want to also just share some additional information with you. So I'm just going to allow you to look here. You'll notice that we present some information for doctoral programs. So if you're thinking about going to school for a little bit longer, you'll notice that we do have some doctorate programs out there. So Doctorate of Pharmacy, you'll see that there. You'll see Doctorate of Podiatry, just to give you a few examples. Now, other possible options, of course, health career forgiveness for state or hospital systems might be available to you. There's also National Guard or AmeriCorps programs. And then again, just talking to your employers, just see what options that might be available to you. Now, let's talk about deferment. So some of you may not even know that you're in a deferment or have experienced a deferment. So as we talk about deferment, it's a time period when repayment is temporarily suspended. So deferment period may be granted for at least be enrolled at half time at an eligible college or university. So if you're in school right now and you're at least half time, you're already in what we call an in-school deferment. It could be a graduate fellowship, a rehabilitation program, unemployment, economic hardship, military service. So again, these deferments apply to loans made on or after July 1, 1993. So if you have a loan made before that date, you want to check your promissory note. I also want to make sure that you understand forbearance. So you are, if you're in a forbearance or requesting forbearance, that means you are unable to make your scheduled payments, but you do not qualify for some of the deferments that I mentioned to you in the previous slide. So a forbearance allows you to reduce the amount of your payment, or it could be that it's temporarily stopped. So that means that you're temporarily stopping your payments. So most forbearances are discretionary, so it's up to your lender or your loan servicer to decide to grant a forbearance. I'm going to slow down just a little bit because I want to talk to you about delinquency as well as default. So what does that mean? So we're talking about when you fail to make your payments on time, you are delinquent in meeting your obligation in regards to your loan. So when you fail to make your payments for 270 days, so that's almost a whole year, you will be in default of your student loan. So I just want to say that one more time. So when you fail to make your payments for 270 days, you will be in default of your student loan. So there are serious consequences that go along with defaulting on your student loan obligation, and we're going to talk about that. So here are some of the consequences of default. So that means that your credit rating could be damaged. You can be referred to a collection agency. Collection costs are added to your debt. Your wages can be garnished if you work for a federal, let me just step back. So if you're, let's see. So what do we say? Your wages could be garnished, or, federal or state tax refunds, your Social Security benefits can be withheld. There could be a civil law suit filed against you. So that means that court costs and legal fees are going to be included in that. Loss of deferment forbearance entitlements. So we talked about forbearance and deferments just a moment ago. Loss of repayment options, that flexibility. Loss of eligibility for further financial aid, that's a big one. So, if you're planning to continue your education, you're losing your eligibility for further financial aid. And then this is another one that sometimes students are not aware of. There could be suspension of your professional license. And, you worked really hard in school for all this time, and I would really hate for you to experience any of these things. So just want to make sure that you're aware of it. Now, loan cancellation. This is another popular question that we get. How can my loans be canceled, or what would happen for my loans to be canceled? So it could be that you passed away. So upon your death, you become totally or permanently disabled. Your school closes and you're unable to complete your program of study as a result. It could be that your loan was falsely certified as a result of identity theft. So identity theft is real, it happens. Your school falsely certified or fraudulently completed a loan application in your name without your approval. So these are the ways that a loan could be canceled. Now, if you're having trouble making your loan payments, please, please contact your loan servicer. Your loan servicer is there to help you with any problems or issues or concerns or even questions that you have in regards to your student loans. So you may be able to reduce your monthly payments if you qualify for an alternative repayment schedule. You may be able to temporarily postpone your payments if you qualify for any of the deferments, or if you qualify for any of the forbearance options that I talked about. So just want to make sure that you understand there's help out there. Your servicers or your lenders, they want to help you any way they can. So just make sure you're reaching out. Your servicer or your lender doesn't know you're having an issue unless you share that information. Now, here's some helpful tips for you. So keep your loan records organized. You want to keep track of your loan records at studentaid.gov, so you can keep track of all your information right there. Know how much your loan payments will be. So if you don't know that, your loan servicer will send you a repayment schedule, or you can check studentaid.gov. So remember that if you stay under the standard payment plan, that your payment would be at least $50. That's the smallest one that you have. And then, of course, we talked about several of the other repayment options that you had available. Remember to create a budget. So you're going to have a lot of things that you're taking care of. So you're going to have your apartment or your house. It could be your car payment. You're having your grocery bill, your utilities, but also remember that you're going to have to include your monthly loan payment as part of that budget. Now, your direct loan servicer will offer you the standard repayment plan. We talked about that, unless you choose another payment or repayment option. So just make sure that you understand that the standard or the default repayment option is going to be what we call the standard repayment plan. And you will need to provide information to your loan servicer if you need to choose a different repayment plan. Additional resources. We talked about some of these throughout the presentation, but I want to just make sure that you jot these down. Once again, we talked a lot about studentaid.gov. That's a wonderful website. CFNC.org has lots of career college information available to you. NCAssist.org. So, you can definitely follow all these resources on social media so you have the latest and greatest information. Now, before we go, I do want to talk to you about the CARES Act. You might have already heard about it. So on March 27, 2020, Congress passed and the president signed into law the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. So we call that CARES. So the CARES Act, which provides for some relief through the, actually it was through the end of September 2020. However, of course, on August 8, 2020, President Trump directed the Secretary to continue to suspend the loan payments or stop collection or waive interest on Department of Education health student loans until December 31st, 2020. So that's just information as the day that we're talking, but we just don't know how things may change over time. So to make sure you have the latest and greatest information on the CARES Act, I have a web address that you'll see on my screen. And so make sure you're checking that information out. Now, we also have some upcoming webinars. So, if you didn't get a chance to hear everything today and you have other questions, we're offering another webinar on November 10th at 6 p.m. So it'll be, again, understanding your student loan repayment. So it gives you a chance to review the information that we talked about today, and you can come back and hear it once again. And then on Thursday, that's November 12th at 3 p.m., we're going to talk about financial education. So steps to being financially fit after graduation. So make sure that you tune in for that information. Now, stay in the know by connecting with us. We want to make sure that you know all the information that we have to get you prepared for your next journey. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And by the way, I want you to make sure you check out our HBCU playlist. So we have a special playlist just for our HBCU students. And we're also on Instagram. So make sure you check us out. So I'll pause just a moment so you can see our social media handles and you can get information about what's going on. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you contact us. You'll see our toll-free number here, 866-866-CFNC. And you can talk to one of our call center staff members from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And on Friday, we're available 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And so we would like to say that on Fridays, we don't just have, the extended hours that we do through the rest of the week. We really have those regular business hours. So, but Monday through Thursday, connect with us. Like I said, we have those extended hours, or I like to say our people hours. And on Friday, it's just standard, business hours. But thank you so much for joining our webinar today. We hope that you learned a lot, and we hope to see you again in one of our future events. Have a great day.